Welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news, most of which revolves around Ralph Rangnick, who is going to be the new Manchester United manager. Now, there is talk of, Romano has just said that he might want the full-time job. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about a January transfer clear-out, which he will have the authority to do, which is something Ollie was meant to be doing anyway, which Rangnick will continue to do. We'll have a look at that. Also, some players apparently not happy about the appointment because they weren't consulted about it. Sit down, or as I wrongly typed on Twitter, shit down. We'll talk about that as well. Lots of things I want to talk about as well in relation to Klopp talking about the arrival of Rangnick, and basically saying it's a bad thing. It's a good thing for Man United, but it's a bad thing for everybody else. We'll also be talking about Michael Carrick's comments, which again I just found a little bit odd. You know, Solskjaer's been sacked, and he's still talking about the good work that they did. I don't know whether that's petulance or stupidity. I don't know. We'll talk about that as well. So lots and lots to get involved with. Being Ricky says, players consulted. Why? I know, exactly. Sit down, but they think that they've, we don't know who those players are, so it's very unfair to say what. But loads to get into. Plus, it's Friday night, so I want to do a bit of a Q&A and get some of your questions as well. But first of all, let me just say, guess who's back? Back again. Cards Plugged back. Tell a friend. For the long-time viewers of United Stand, you will remember these card plugs. You'll see it there. A show card. It's card plug. Cards Plug are an awesome custom football card that are a perfect gift for any football fan. And keep watching because we have an amazing discount for you because it is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Cards are amazing presents that make perfect decorative items that can look good in your office, your man cave or kids' playroom. The cards have also been made of extra strong stuff. However, now Cards Plug have launched a brand new item, which you can see here. I'm going to chop my head off if I'm not careful. Where basically it's made of metal. So this one's made of metal, which they tell us is basically unbreakable. The online Cards Plug creator is a really simple way to customize every part of your football card. So you can put yourself on there, you can put your own ratings on there. You can get it in metal, which will go up with magnets. You can put it on there with that one as well. And the great thing is that Cards Plug are giving United Stand viewers 30% off at any item wide across their website, and when you spend over £50 that goes up to 35%. All you've got to do to receive the discount is click and you will see the amazing discounts that Cards Plug are running, and if you order before November the 30th then you're guaranteed to have your card before Christmas Day. So do yourself a favour and get your Christmas shopping done early and make the football fan in your life the happiest they've ever been. Thank you very much to Cards Plug for getting involved with the show. They're really, really good. I've got loads of them. I've got about 5 of them, and they are fantastic. You can put me on there if you want. You can put your own badge on there. You can put whoever you want on there. Your favourite player, your favourite teammate at school, whatever you want to put on there, you can put on there. You put your own ratings on. You could do it for a wife or boyfriend as a laugh. You could change it from paste to ironing, whatever, cooking, bedroom, whatever. It's all customizable for you, and you can get 30% off, 35% off if you spend over £50. Fantastic little Christmas present, birthday present. And you can get... Whoa. Just before... We'll come back to that. People are having a pop at my my ratings. I mean, I'm just having a quick look. 96 pace. Yeah, in my bloody dreams. In my teens. Not now. 99 humour's probably about right. Anyway, Cards Plug, fantastic. Links in the video description. Details are there. Get it for your grandkids, your kids, your wife, your boyfriends, your friends. Have a bit of fun with it and use the discount today because it is Black Friday. And very, very good presents to get. Right, let's move on with the show. So lots to get into. The first thing I'm going to just do is sort of give you a summary of what's going actually on in the world, of not the world in general. I don't want to talk about the COVID variant from South Africa or anything like that. We're going to talk about Ralph Rangnick. So little bit of a hold up with the work permits. I expected this to be announced by tonight, really, maybe tomorrow, but it looks like it could go after Sunday. I certainly don't think there's any point in United announcing this on Sunday unless it's after the game and we've lost. I think, it's either going to happen tomorrow or it's going to happen on Monday. Now, there's talk that Rangnick's in Manchester, that he won't go to Chelsea. This deal will go through. It will go through, but the hold-up is a little bit of a pain because we want him in place for Arsenal. There's even rumours that Carrick could be in charge for the Arsenal game. That really does make me want to throw up. I don't hold out much hope of us doing that well against Arsenal if we've still got Carrick and McKenna and everybody else in charge. which is interesting because, as I said, there was a story coming out tonight from Hurst Class on Twitter, who's a journalist, saying that some players were... Well, let me actually read it out to you. You might be quite interested in this. A few Manchester United players are annoyed at being left in the dark this week over Ralf Rangnick's appointment. United did not communicate to the squad either via their WhatsApp group or in person, much to the annoyance of some players. I mean, at the end of the day, you can probably see it from their side, you know. They think they should be consulted, but this is the problem with Manchester United. This is why Mourinho lost his job, because players were consulted. And football players are important, but at the end of the day, you're the lowest common denominator in the food chain at Manchester United, and that's where you should be. You put the shirt on, you deliver in the shirt. You should not have say in team tactics, managers, or anything like that. I mean, it's just contradictory. It's contradictory. Why should a player have say in who the manager's going to be when that manager is going to be in charge of them, drop them, pick them, motivate them, train them? You know, I would not trust the player as far as I could throw them on what manager they want. There will have been a lot of Manchester United players that wanted us to keep Solskjaer. Not because they think he's a good coach, but because he's good for their career. There are players in that team under Solskjaer that are going to struggle under Rangnick. So I wouldn't listen to them, because every player's got an agent and every player's got an ulterior motive, and they shouldn't be listened to. I don't think. Some people might disagree with me. Will they not wait until stock markets are open on Monday in states to announce it? Says James Cullen. Well, they might do. And welcome to the Members Club, Ben the Conqueror. But the other headline I wanted to talk about, and this was coming from James Ducker in the Telegraph, three things that he said that were quite interesting. First one, which we'll go into a little bit more depth, is that Rangnick will have authority to clear out players in the January transfer window. This was part of Solskjaer's task, that Manchester United had a very bloated squad, and part of Solskjaer's task this season was to trim that squad in preparation for new players coming in the summer. So we'll talk about that, because Rangnick now has control of that and will be allowed to do that. Severance pay for Carrick and Phelan and everyone else like that has not been impacted by the new contracts. It still would be the same severance fee that it would have been even if they had a year left on their contract. So that's quite interesting. So it's not really a financial issue for Manchester United any more than it was. And he also goes on to say that Pochettino, Ten Hag are considerations for the job in the summer, but so is the Sporting Lisbon coach. And effectively, what's going to happen with the coaching system is that United are going to use this time with Rangnick over the next 7 months to assess the situation and then go for the best possible option. So, Rodgers could come back into the fray. Another manager could come in. So that's going to be very interesting. But it's also interesting that Romano tonight has said that there are hold-ups with the work permit, which shouldn't take too long. But Ralf Rangnick, whilst he's got the 2 years after being an interim, would also be interested in the full-time job. So, look, even that is a risk with Rangnick, which I think is quite interesting. Hi Mark, I'm excited for Rangnick. However, if he doesn't have success, is it time to look for other roots of our problems, the coaches? Says Akil. And you can understand players' frustration if they were being dictated to by a rubbish coach, but the players should keep quiet right now and zip it, says Red Baron. Exactly. I mean, I think that story to come out from Paul Hurst, the journalist, that certain players were very angry or frustrated, about the appointment of Ralf Rangnick because they weren't consulted. I mean, virtually 99% of our fan base yesterday, when they heard about Ralf Rangnick, were excited because of his history, the way he plays football, the way he rebuilds a club. So how can any player, even one player, be frustrated about not being consulted when the vast majority of the fan base in the footballing world are saying this is a good appointment for Manchester United? It shows you, I don't know who those players are, so it's very unfair to predict who it is, but whoever those players are, it shows you where their loyalties are, that, the fans of this football club and the wider media are saying this is a really good appointment. It shows Man United are trying to run a football club, but there's some players that are not happy that they've been consulted. I mean, I'm glad that they've not been consulted if they're not happy about it, because it shows you that that their judgment possibly isn't the best. And no, I don't think it's Ronaldo. I don't think it is Ronaldo at all. I think Ronaldo is going to be a very important player for Manchester United, whoever the coach is going to be. So that'll be interesting. But look, going back to what Romano said about, and let me just read you what he said. Rangnick would be interested in taking the full-time manager role at Manchester United if it was offered. His camp are working on a work permit. He's planning to arrive next week. I think he needs to be on the training ground on Tuesday. United players will have Monday off because they're playing Sunday evening. So Tuesday morning, Tuesday, Wednesday preparation for the Arsenal game you're not going to get very long. So Rangnick needs to be there on Tuesday so that we get that roar and anticipation and bounce of the Arsenal game, which hopefully we will win. But it's interesting, isn't it? What would you think about Ralf Rangnick getting the permanent job? Because we spoke about this a couple of days ago when we were talking about Valverde and Rudy Garcia and Laurent Blanc and all these people that were being put forward as the interim job. And I think many of you agreed that it was worrying, because anybody who takes an interim job is thinking, yeah, it's an interim job. If I do well, I'm another Ollie. And none of us wanted that. We don't want an interim is a manager that's not good enough to be full time. Let's call it what it is. An interim manager is somebody that the club don't want to give a full time job to, which means there's a doubt. So you appoint an interim on a doubt. They do quite well in the short term, and then you give them a job. It's Ollie all over again. So that's why I didn't want an interim. The brilliance of the Rangnick deal is that he is a builder of football clubs. So you bring him in, he's going to be here for another 2 years. It works. I'm a little bit nervous about him potentially wanting the job full time, because then that's not the rebuilding of the football club that we want. I think it's really important that we build the football club, and I think Murta and Fletcher and with Woodward gone, we're going to need more hands on the actual structure of the footballing side of things. And ideally I want Rangnick to come in, be a manager for 7 months, remove players, be involved in recruiting players, highlighting players for the summer. I want him to do all that. I want him to get us playing in a certain way. I actually then want him to go into the sporting director role and appoint a manager that he oversees as well, and rebuilds the football club that way. That's what I want to see. But look, if we start playing amazing football, I think we will fall into the trap that we did with Ollie. And I think it's impossible not to fall in that trap. But I hope that whatever happens with Rangnick, it works, and it works to the betterment of the football club, and that we rebuild this football club. That reset button. I was thinking about this earlier, actually. I did an interview with Alex Goldberg for the Chelsea game, and it's going to be on his Patreon page. And he was asking me about Gary Neville, and I said, I don't know what Gary Neville thinks about Rangnick. I don't know whether he's even spoken about it yet. But what I like is that it got very toxic, didn't it, towards the end, with like Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville and certain other ex-players who were just so blindly loyal to their friends that they wouldn't entertain anything about terrible tactics or anything like that. Well, I embrace the fact that Rangnick's in the club, because I think it's beneficial for everybody, because there's no attachment there now. There's no I played with him. There's no he's my mate. It's just it's like it's professionalism. You are judging it for what it is. There's no emotional sentimentality attached to it. So I think that's going to be a real positive thing. He'll receive a bonus if he wins Manchester United a trophy, or helps them qualify for next season's Champions League, which is coming from Hurst Class again. And I think that's quite interesting, isn't it? Because I've never thought of it like that, but it shows Manchester United are concerned. We should get Champions League football, but look, the battle that was there for Solskjaer that we were worried about is still very much there. And the statement from the Telegraph was this: Solskjaer was aware that he needed to trim a bloated squad in January before the club would countenance new signings, and the same is expected to be true for Rangnick in the winter window. Now, I want to talk about Carrick and what he said in his press conference, that one statement about Ollie again, because I think that's, I don't think we need that chat, but I did want to just, that is the headline of the show: Rangnick's January transfer clear out. An interim is someone who's on probation, and if they're decent, they pass. Keep the job. Ralph is different, as he's already secured a better job with us, says Sam. And Marcellino says, why are people doubting Ronaldo under Ralf Rangnick? He still managed to produce under Ollie, who was clueless. Ronaldo is a genius, can adjust tactically. I don't know. I think you make a very good point, and I don't know why people are thinking that Ronaldo could be a problem under Rangnick. In fact, I'm going to get Levin to come on the show and talk about that in the future, because my feeling is that Cristiano Ronaldo in the last couple of games it's almost been like watching Harry Kane. I mean, he's better than Harry Kane, but it's like, we've seen Ronaldo in the centre circle, in the CDM position. He's been everywhere. So I think this Ronaldo doesn't press thing is a load of crap. I think he will press with the team, and I think we can get the best out of him. And I don't care whether you're Ralf Rangnick or Ralph Lauren. The reality is Cristiano Ronaldo is a big icon, and is going to be somebody that you want to get the best out of. We've already seen this season he can do things that other players can't do. He can win you a game. He can equalise in a game. Hi Mark, which players can you see being potentially sold or brought in January? Well, that's what we're going to talk about now, Luke. How likely is it that Maguire gets stripped of the armband under Rangnick, and who would get it, says Suhab? And seen a lot of people saying that Maguire's dropped, but I think Ralph can make him better positionally, and Maguire can play out from the back. You know what, Dazzo? I would probably agree with you. I don't think Maguire's going to get dropped from the team. I I think United are very aware of, the negatives of dropping somebody, and but in a way, I hope the captaincy is taken off him, because it shows we mean business. I think I'm really hoping that Rangnick's going to come in and do some big things, because I think that squad needs a jolt. I mean, Bruno got a jolt the other night. He did not like being sat on the bench for a game that was very important to us, and he was dropped for Villarreal. Some people were saying, he's being rested for Chelsea, but if we'd lost to Villarreal, we might have ended up in the Europa League. That was a game we didn't want to lose, and Bruno and Rashford definitely got dropped. Bruno reacted to that. He'll start against Chelsea, and he was better for it. Some players in that squad need a jolt, none more so than Harry Maguire. He doesn't get dropped. He doesn't get the captaincy taken off him. So I would hope that it does happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't, if it makes sense. I read somewhere that Rangnick's never having managed outside of Germany is a concern. Well, Klopp hadn't either, and before Poch, PSG neither had Tuchel, says Marcus. I believe Ralph Rangnick actually lived in the UK. I'm not sure whether that's correct or not, but he certainly knows English, and he's a massive admirer of the Premier League. So I'm not concerned about it. Football is the universal sport, isn't it? And I don't think that will be a massive issue for him. But look, what's he going to do in January? Because there is no doubt that there are a number of issues in that football club that you cannot wait until the summer. And also, I think that Rangnick staying in the club, I've already said this at the start of the week, the World Cup will be kicking off this time next year. What a weird time to kick a World Cup off. It's going to be a really weird season next year. Can you imagine the weather now and what it's like and a World Cup kicking off? There'll be no sunny nights in the pub in the UK. It'll be pissing down rain and dark. It's going to be really, really weird. But because of that, the season next season starts really early. It's like the start of August. Well, players will still finish the season late. They'll go on holiday, and they'll come back from holiday at the start of July, and you'll have a month before the season starts. That's not a lot of time for a new manager. So United need to utilise this period in relation to the summer, and that's where Rangnick's going to be very important. And obviously that is why it's been said by James Ducker that of the Telegraph that Rangnick will be involved in January transfer window, players leaving, decisions being made on players. Now, I don't think it means that Anthony Martial gets sold in January. I don't think we're going to see that level of a statement. But I think what will happen is in January decisions will be made. Like Jesse Lingard is free to talk to foreign clubs in a month at the start of January. Paul Pogba is as well. And there's people like Anthony Martial, Eric Bailly, Dean Henderson. There's many other players as well that decisions need to be made upon. And these decisions will be made by Ralph Rangnick. Could you see us buying Calvin Phillips as Ben? Look, you never know with Rangnick. He might look at Calvin Phillips and go, he's exactly the sort of player that we need. I would still like to think that a Declan Rice or a Tchouaméni are players that we're going to look at, but he might know somebody who's playing at Salzburg. He might know somebody who's playing in Germany that's perfect for us. That's the exciting thing. So in relation to recruitment, I think we'll definitely be looking for midfielders, because we would have been looking for midfielders anyway. Pogba's going to go, and we know we need a holding midfielder. I think the interesting thing is the trimming of the squad. And the honest answer is, look, Rangnick's January transfer clear out, he's not even started in the job yet, so he doesn't know who's going to clear out. I would obviously expect Pogba to go. He's out of contract, and I don't think... I can't see Paul Pogba working in this system. I'd love to be wrong. I mean, I'm not one of those people that dislikes Pogba. I like him as a player, but I'd love to see a Paul Pogba working in a high-pressing, energetic, attractive side. Maybe he can, maybe he can't, but I think that Pogba, whether he wants to or not, is probably looking at a massive payday in the summer, and he is. Like, somebody will give him 500 grand a week because they won't have to pay a transfer fee, so we can't compete with that. I think Pogba's gone. Lingard, to a lesser extent, is in the same position. I think he's on around 100 grand a week at Manchester United. He could probably get 150 grand a week at another club because he'll be free and there'll be no transfer fee. So instead of a club having to pay £25 million to Manchester United, they can find a way for paying that to Jesse in wages. So I think for his career, it's a good move to go as well. There may be a way where he signs a new contract at Manchester United because he wants to be here and Rangnick likes him, but I don't see a future for Lingard at Manchester United, even under Ralph Rangnick, because I think that he likes to play with two forwards. Whether he will play with two forwards or not, I don't know. One thing Rangnick's very good at is coming into the club and making the best of what he's got. He might feel that playing with two forwards isn't the best situation for United at the moment when we lack a holding midfielder. So, and the way I don't think Jesse starts for Manchester United. He's not going to start in the midfield two. I don't think he's going to start in the front two. And I don't think he can play in the midfield attacking two, because I think that will be Bruno, that will be Sancho, that will be maybe a Greenwood, that will be maybe a Donny van der Beek. So I think Lingard and Pogba are an obvious two. And apart from that, I don't really know what you think. I mean, Matic will go anyway. Mata will go anyway. So that's 4. You'd expect the goalkeeper to go, Dean Henderson. I mean, look, I'll put my hands up and say Ralf Rangnick might come in and go, I prefer Henderson to De Gea. I'd be very surprised. He might do, in which case De Gea would have to go. We've got Tom Heaton as the reserve goalkeeper. So there's 5. And then I think you're in the hands of, I think everybody will be given a clean slate. Dalot, Eric Bailly, Tellez. And we'll see what happens with it. I would love a player like Amad Diallo to become very important, to be honest. Just tuned in. I want Rangnick at Liverpool as sporting director now that Michael Edwards is leaving. The best staff signing since Ferguson left, says Jack. With Ralph coming in and Ronaldo, we will win the Champions League. Thank you very much for that super chat. Well, I did just want to read something here that was very, very, very interesting today that I really, really, really liked. And it is a weird situation with Manchester United, because I like Jurgen Klopp. When he first went to Liverpool, I was like, I don't like Jurgen Klopp. He's a Liverpool manager. Before he went to Liverpool, I was like, I like Jurgen Klopp. I'd love him to be a United manager. Goes to Liverpool, you instantly don't like them. It's a weird thing as a Manchester United fan to like a Liverpool manager. And look, people say he's a bad loser. So was Sir Alex. I don't like him when he's on the touchline for Liverpool, but I can't help but like the way he plays football and his passion. And Liverpool have got an identity with Klopp, and that's what Manchester United are trying to get. So when Klopp was talking this afternoon about Ralf Rangnick, and some people might not have heard what he said, this is what he said. Klopp is one of the younger German coaches who looked up to Rangnick, and they faced each other as rival bosses. This is from the BBC, but this is the quotes. United will be organised on the pitch, said Klopp. That's not good news for other teams. Rangnick said he also he's a really good man and an outstanding coach, added Klopp. He's really experienced manager and famously built 2 clubs from nowhere to proper forces in Germany, Hoffenheim and Leipzig. He's done a lot of different jobs in football, but his concern was always being a coach, being a manager, and that's what his best skill is. And I think that he's, between the coaches and in the football world in Germany, he's very highly regarded, and rightly so. Wherever he was, he did an incredible job. And I mean, I think the big line there is, until United will be organised on the pitch, that's not good news for other teams. There is a level of respect. I'm not going to say that we're going to win titles. That I think I don't agree with that. I think we did it with Mourinho. I think we did it with Van Gaal, and I don't think we need to do that as a fan base. The appointment of Ralf Rangnick is not about we're going to win the title. But what I do think is that we've hit that reset button. And what I do think is that we are a football club again with an identity. And I tweeted it earlier. That smile you get on your face when you realise your new manager is obsessed with attacking, attractive, entertaining football. You can read about Rangnick as much as you like. You can have watched him for the last 10 years. But you can know this and nothing else. He wants to play attacking, attractive football. And that, to me, is an identity that we need. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a reactive coach. Said it a few weeks ago, said it many times. If Watford play in a certain way, he's going to look how you stop that before he thinks about how you play. Ralf Rangnick is like Sir Alex Ferguson. He's like Pep. He's like Jurgen Klopp. He wants to play the way he wants to play. There will be consideration about the opposition, but he wants to play the way he wants to play on the front foot. That is Manchester United. He befits what United's all about. So when you get Jurgen Klopp saying, basically, that's bad news for other teams that Rangnick is now in charge of Manchester United, whether it works or it doesn't, having a man with the reputation of a Jurgen Klopp saying that shows you what a good appointment this is. So it's a good appointment for United, and that's all we can say at the moment. Do you think Palestri will get a go, says Andy? I'd heard Palestri might be on his way out. Can you please call my boyfriend a prat? He's called Jack, says Ali. There you go, and it's his birthday. Jack, you're a prat. I hope you're having a good birthday. Mark, have you seen what Rangnick said about Shaw? It was last year, but said United need a better left-back, says Liam G. I did. But you know what? I don't know whether you heard, what's his name? Van der Vaart calling Harry Maguire shit on Dutch TV the other day. I'm pretty sure that Ralf Rangnick might think the same about Harry Maguire as well. And yet, Harry Maguire will probably end up being his captain and a good centre-back. I don't think Luke Shaw's going anywhere. I think Luke Shaw will be a player that Rangnick gets the best out of. Luke Shaw, at the end of last season, was arguably the best left-back in the world. But if he doesn't think that, and he moves him on, that's up to him. As I said, Pochettino was a fantastic advocate and fan of Luke Shaw. So I'm relaxed about that. You know, it's not... we need to lose the whole agenda anyway. You know, I think if you look at United over the last 2 or 3 years, Bruno FC, Pogba FC, Martial FC, Rashford FC, you know, there's a lot, you know, McFred FC, there's all sorts of Henderson FC. There's been lots and lots of divisive arguments in the fan base. I sit here and I'm just relaxed. I mean, look, I've got favourite players, but if they don't get picked because the manager doesn't think they're good enough, but he gets us playing attacking football, am I going to sit there bumping my gums moaning about it? No. No, I don't think that's going to happen as well. He will know of amazing talent which is cheap. The amount of good players we will get now. Look at Mane, Firmino, all discovered by him. And look, Dan Watson makes a great point. Whether it's the January transfer window, I doubt. Probably more likely going to be the summer transfer window. But I've always wanted Man United to do that. I mean, yeah, it's great when you spend £74 million on Jadon Sancho. It's not so great when you spend £80 million on Harry Maguire. But, you know, would Rangnick spend £80 million on Harry Maguire? No, he wouldn't. He could probably get you 4 or 5 centre-backs just as good for half the price. You know, he knows world football. And I look forward to... You know, I'm very envious of teams like Leicester who go and get Ndidi and Kante and Tielemans and Samari and all those sort of players. And they might not all be successful, but you've heard of them and you go, why were we not in for that? And I think it's because we've been run by Ed Woodward, who doesn't like to... He likes to do the statement that's expensive but safe. Oh, look, we've bought Harry Maguire. Most clubs would do that, wouldn't they? So Rangnick is somebody that demands respect and knows the game. And when he goes, I don't need 50 million for a right back, I need 15 for this right back from Germany or France or wherever. You know, he's got the authority and experience. I like Rangnick and I fear that Poch will ruin it, says Jenks. Hoping Rangnick brings in a great deal of discipline, especially to the slackers. They get away with a lot under Oli, says JJ. Juventus also blamed Ronaldo, but people fail to realise players around Ronaldo have usually let him down since he left. Rashford need to be like Benzema, says Marcelino. Didn't really know who he was, but knowing what I wanted most, I might as well have manifested Ranging Out of Magic. Keep rocking, Mark, and the United stand. Look, you know, everybody has different levels of knowledge in football. Everybody has different areas of knowledge, and I've had people messaging me, you know, people I respect, you know, who've said, look, I don't really know much about Rangnick. And I've said, look, I'm not going to pretend to know loads. I know who he is. I remember his playing. I remember him. You know, you remember teams that United have played, especially if you're old enough like I am. The Sir Alex Ferguson era. I remember playing, you know, Dortmund in semi-finals of the Champions League and Leverkusen, and I remember playing Schalke. That was quite recently, so I know who he is. And you know, you take an interest. I mean, Rangnick's a man that's been mentioned around United for. You know, I remember Rangnick being mentioned 3 or 4 years ago. So you do your homework on these people and you know who they are. I don't know him inside out. But as I said, the one thing I think that's most important for anybody about Rangnick, whether you're a rival fan or a United fan, whether you know everything about him or you know not much about him, the most important sentence for me and the one that keeps putting a smile on my face is we've now got a man in our football club who's going to have a lot of power, whose obsession is winning the ball back high up the pitch and playing entertaining forward football. Thank you, because that's all I want as a United fan. I want to be entertained. I want an identity. I don't want our identity to be reactive, sit back and counter-attack football, which is what Solskjaer did. I'm sorry, that's what he did. If somebody said to me, well, Ralph Rangnick's that, Klopp's that, Tuchel's that, Pep's that, what's Ollie? It's counter-attacking football. You know, it's not possession football. It's not chance after chance football. And that's what Rangnick wants to do. I just want stability now. Still feels a bit circus-like. We're such a club of extremes. Went from a basic Ollie to Rangnick, who's been quote tweeted more times than Shakespeare. It's always sink or swim, says Nick P. And looking forward for Ralph getting players who want to play for the shirt instead of mercenaries. And I think that's a really important thing, Andy. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. We've got 20,000 people watching. Andy Cheatham. I think that's the most important thing. When we bought Ronaldo and he played against Newcastle, I remember saying, it feels like, you know, sometimes we're doing 2 shows a day, sometimes 3 shows a day. And it got to a point when we bought Ronaldo, I felt that every video was going to have Ronaldo in the title. It felt like for the next 2 years, it was going to be Ronaldo that does this. Ronaldo smiles at Maguire. You know, it felt like that there was such a buzz around the football club that we'd never stop talking about Ronaldo. And literally in a week, we stopped talking about Ronaldo because we realised no matter how good Ronaldo is, in Solskjaer's team, it can become very unrewarding and suddenly Ronaldo loses his shine. This will happen with Rangnick. At the moment, we're just very excited about what's going on, and you know, it's exciting. But there will be a loss. That, you know, we might lose to Palace, we might lose to Brighton just before Christmas. There'll be a loss, and everyone will go, "Ah, he's not a machine." And then you'll get the people in our fan base who are, you know, we know who they are. They'll be like, "Ah, he's not that good. We should have got Poch." That will happen. That will happen, and you will be tested on your patience. We will lose games under Rangnick because some of these players are not good enough. I hope I'm wrong on that. I hope we win every single game and we somehow win a Champions League or a title. But we will lose games because some of these players ultimately aren't going to be good enough. And what we've learned over the last 3 managers is there's players in that team are just not good enough. And they're either going to become good enough or they're going to remain not good enough. And if they remain not good enough, there's a rebuild to be done. Can we finally get rid of Phil Jones now? Says Charge Words. Well, you never know. He might have a comeback. Hopefully this will attract more players again, then end up liking Donny or Sancho under Ollie. I mean, look, boy, I'm so excited to see the development of Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Donny van der Beek, Bruno Fernandes. You know, those 5 especially. Amad Diallo, 6. Those 6 players. Hannibal Mabry, you know, maybe Elanga as well. I'm so excited to see the next set of flair players that I think have been subdued. You know, I think playing as a number 9 for United is the graveyard shift. And, you know, you can always sympathise with the striker, but it's very evident with the striker because you'll go, well, how many chances did he have created? I think it's a bloody arsehole of a shift when you're the number 10 or you're a creative player as well because you're living off scraps. Mark, don't you think we're going to again falling into the promises of future by the Glazers, a future which never seems to come, says Sackett. Look, I said that this morning. There's a lot of people that, you know, if you tried to organise a protest outside Old Trafford tomorrow, nobody would turn up. I mean, nobody really turned up a couple of weeks ago, did they? Because it wasn't organised very well. But, you know, fair play for those people who did turn up because they wanted to do it. You'd get no one turn up tomorrow. Why are you protesting? We've got Rangnick. I'm protesting because I don't like the ownership. Yeah, but we've got Rangnick. Yeah, but I didn't want to protest because people wanted Ollie out. I want to protest because I don't trust the Glazers. You should be Glazers out every single day if you Glazers out. And, you know, can we trust the Glazers? I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to think we can. I don't know. I'm always somebody who wants to give people second chances. I mean, how many chances the Glazers have had is more than second chances, of course. But there is a potential for this football club to run well. There is a potential for this football club to turn a corner. On the other hand, there is a potential for this football club to become a football club that... 1 minute. There is a potential for this football club... I mean, the positive of Rangnick, I've just said there, is buying players like he's bought for Leipzig in the past who were very cheap and then they sell them on. You know, United don't want to become a conveyor belt of talent. We want to bring players in that then stay at the club and help us win trophies. Hi Mark, shout out to Jakob and his dad. Had a good chat about United stand in the cab home tonight. Have a good one, guys, says Alex McCluskey. Nice one, Alex. Nice one, Jakob, as well. And hi Mark, is Rashford as good as we think? If he was Brazilian and not doing the philanthropy work, and not homegrown, what would we say? He doesn't seem too convincing. I think Ralph will show what he's made of, says Carl. Look, clean slates, err on the side of positivity, because look, I'll be at the front of the queue when we need to moan. People know that, but I'm not actually a negative person. I'm a realist when it comes to football, and I was right, like many other people. You know, when I decided to be Ollie out, I was right. I was right with Van Gaal. I don't know about you, I've never said get that manager out and been wrong. I haven't. I never said sack Sir Alex Ferguson, and we never did. Moyes I wanted out very early, he went. Van Gaal out, he went. Mourinho out, he went. Ollie out, he went. I did it at different times. I was right at the right time after Liverpool. That was the time to go. Mourinho after West Ham, I think that was right time to go. Van Gaal I was very early, but I still was right. Moyes I wanted him gone from day one, and I was right. So you're probably the same. Like, I've never been wrong with the last 4 managers about them being sacked. that's a really interesting thing that I can't really remember what I was going to be talking about. That's never happened before, but no, I can remember. It's like, we're not negative for negative's sake. I think that I want to be positive. I believed in Ollie for a long time, but I lied to myself. I believed in him because I wanted it to work. I didn't, realistically, his football was crap. He never did improve. After that Europa League final, he never did improve. And, I remember after the Europa League final saying we need to create more chances for our striker. We need to be better against the low block. He needs to make subs sooner. He needs to have a plan B. We need to defend set pieces better. We need to play at a higher tempo. These are all things that he needs to improve on the summer for the start of the season. He didn't improve any. In fact, we got worse. So, Solskjaer had his chance and he blew it. And United had no identity. But I want to be positive about this, and I want it to work. And what did you make of Klopp's statement? Ralph will realise he has no time to train as they play all the time. Look, Beng, it's going to be very difficult to implement what he wants to do. If he had 4 weeks to work with this team, we'd be a brilliant team in 4 weeks' time. He's going to get 2 days before Arsenal. But it's like Carrick said in the press conference. You can get things out of a team and fresh ideas across very quickly. History has shown us that. You can get that bounce. We spoke about it after Solskjaer was sacked on Sunday night. And we were talking on the Sunday night show, weren't we, about how the players going in on Monday morning, it wouldn't be any different, And it wasn't very different for us, was it? Solskjaer got sacked on Sunday, and whilst we knew it was the right decision, we were like, what comes next? Carrick's still training them tomorrow with McKenna. Well, imagine what that was like for the players. Ollie's been sacked. You go into training on Monday morning after the Watford result on Saturday, and everybody's there apart from Ollie. That's not a reset for the players. That's like, let's do it for Ollie, which is what they basically did on Tuesday night. When they come back into training next week and Rangnick's there, that's a reset. That's a bounce possibility. That's an opportunity to go, this is the new world, which it wasn't this week. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Tariq says he's excited to see Geoghegan pressing. Interesting to see how the players adapt to the 8-second rule in game under Ralph. Big love from South Africa. Lots to be excited about, Tariq. I'm delighted with this appointment, says Mannix. No more mates FC or sentimental FC will improve the group of players 100%. We will have an identity, says Mannix. Exactly. And then going back to what I said, I wanted Solskjaer to succeed, but he never changed. He never, we used to see it. Look, I can show you on a graph. This was United under Solskjaer. The ball goes from Wan-Bissaka, it'll go to McTominay. He has a little look, he does a pivot, he gives it to Fred. Fred goes to Lindelof, gives it back to Fred. It's just very slow. Everyone's taking a touch all the time. The ability to see that ball go there, to there, to there, and then maybe back to there, and then into there, and it's forward, 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 and players moving all the time. It's going to be a total, it's like heads and tails on a coin. Like Ollie's football to Rangnick's principles are night and day, and it's going to be very interesting to see how quickly and effectively we can implement that. What happened to Poch's recruitment, Mark? Well, we'll have to see what happens in the summer, Ravi. Do you think, Mark, this is where we get patient, a switch won't be pressed, and we start playing like City? It's a rebuild for the club. LJ Snooker, you've timed it perfectly, because I did want to say this. Manchester United, whether you like it or not, are going into a rebuild. 100% we are going into a rebuild. Because you cannot say Ollie's football was counter-attacking, pragmatic and slow, and Rangnick's football is attacking, fast tempo on the front foot. That is completely poles apart. They are not close. They're different. So how can we say that this is a continuation of the structure that Solskjaer put in place? How many young players were we putting on the bench this season despite putting 9 on the bench at times? None. There was no place for Maybury. There was no place for Elanga. There was hardly ever any place for Ahmad, although he was injured a lot. He was never really going to get used. That will change. That will change. The football's going to change. The recruitment strategy is going to change. We won't be spending £80 million on people like Ben White or Harry Maguire anymore. We'll be looking around Europe for players that are better and cheaper, that fit our system. So everything's going to change. This is a reset. It is a rebuild. But it was very interesting what Michael Carrick said in the press conference today. And it wasn't just, the normal I love Solskjaer and I miss him and all that. It was, this was his words, Carrick, today. One of the biggest things during Ollie's time here was the stuff people don't see day to day. We were improving. We finished well last season. Everything else can get overshadowed, but it is still there. And I thought, well, look, what are you talking about? If I'm Ralph Rangnick and I hear that, I'm like, what is this guy on then? What's he talking about? Why is he talking about, you did well last year and it's still there? It's not there anymore, mate. Put it in a bag and throw it in the bin. It's not there anymore. Whatever you were doing, stop. You took 4 points from 21. People were falling asleep watching you. You had no identity and everyone was laughing at you. What are you on about that everything, it's still there and you did some good stuff? That, get your bag, get your coat, you're out. But, I think Carrick will get stayed on. But it's this, I don't get it. If that was Jose Mourinho and Michael Carrick was sat on a Friday press conference before Chelsea knowing that Ralph Rangnick was coming in, would he be saying, well, yeah, me and Jose, we worked on some good stuff last season that people don't know and those things are still there? It might not be that deep, it might be really deep. But the point is, this is a reset, Michael. Whatever you were doing last year failed. We're not going to do that. The football's going to be different, the structure's going to be different, the recruitment's going to be different, and the development's going to be different. It's a different world. It's heads and tails, it's night and day. It's a different world. And you better get on board with it, and you better get your thinking cap on and a notepad and paper, because you're going to be worked hard more than the players are. Because you've got no idea what's about to happen, and you might become a really good coach because of it, or you can get your coat on and you can go. What happened to Poch? I've done that one. They built a feel-good atmosphere at the club. That's the foundation they go all on about. That Smile YouTube. You know what? I can make a feel-good factor as well. I can go into Carrington tomorrow and say we're all going to Alton Towers for the day. Feel-good factor. Feel schmud factor. Who gives a shit about a feel-good factor? I mean, I tell you what makes you feel good. Winning. I tell you what makes you feel good. Winning the Premier League. I tell you what makes you feel good. Beating teams 4-0. That makes you feel good. Not let's play, jump over each other's back or whatever it is, or hop, skip, and bullshit. Happy, smiley people holding hands. Not bothered. It's not an REM song. It's the real world. I tell you what happy is. Happy is winning the title. Happy is winning the Champions League. When you speak to people like Paul Ince and Roy Keane and people like that, and Teddy Sheringham, and you speak to them and they talk, and one of the questions I always ask is, did you all get on? And it was like, well, yeah, we did all get on, and we had different personalities, but we all got on because we were all driven by the same thing. We wanted to win. At the end of the season, we wanted to win, and it hurt not to win. And that's what you're there to do. You want to win. That's what makes you happy. Hi, Mark. I think Rangnick will like players like Martial as he plays quick 1-2 football and would press high up the pitch. This is good for Martial, says Lewis Clark. Clean slate for everyone. Clean slate for everyone. But, going back to Carl Rayner, who did a $20 super chat, to be fair. So let's just talk about Rashford very quickly. I choose to see the positive in things. That's what I was saying. And I think that with Marcus Rashford, I prefer Greenwood. I think Greenwood's a better player, a better talent. But I think they're both in the same box. They've not been developed. Now, Rashford might disagree with that. He might think, Ollie was great for me. I liked him. He developed me. It's all about opinion. I totally agree with you, Mark. I totally disagree with you, Marcus. I don't think you're anywhere near where you should be. I think you're a really good player who needs to learn and be taught how to be a team player more, how to play the pass instead of shooting, how to get your head up, how to press properly, how to conserve your energy, how to take up the right positions. And Ollie was never going to teach you to do that because the coaching staff wasn't good enough to do that. So Marcus Rashford's going to have all those opportunities now under Rangnick. Now Rangnick might well have a conversation where he goes, I can turn him into an absolutely amazing player. He could be the next Arjen Robben. He could be the next Frank Ribery. He could be that good. A wide player who's a team player, who's a leader. Or after 3 months, he might go and knock on the door and say, look, I know he's from the youth setup. I know he's Manc born and bred. I know the song. And I know he does great things off the pitch. And I know he's a massive, massive marketing tool for the club. But for the team, he ain't good enough. And then there's a difficult conversation because I think United would go, well, we're not selling Marcus Rashford and we really would like to see him playing for the first team. I'm not saying that conversation can't happen. It'd be a very difficult conversation if Rangnick has to have it, because I think he's the sort of man who would say, look, he ain't good enough. But the club would be like, can you make him good enough? So look, that's one thing. I prefer to look at the other side and think there is a good player there that's not been developed. And if it's the same for Greenwood, and it's the same for Donny, and it's the same for Bruno, and it's the same for Sancho, then why can't it be the same for Rashford? And I know Ricky would be going, because he ain't good enough, Mark. I'm telling you now, he's not good enough. And maybe he's not. But I choose to believe that everyone will be given an opportunity to show what they're on about. And look, mate, there's nothing I'd like to see more than Scott McTominay become the next Stefan Effenberg. If you're old enough, you know, he was a tall midfielder for Germany and Bayern Munich who was, he had blonde hair as well, and he was bloody amazing. And he's German. I don't know whether there's any touch point with Rangnick, probably not, but Rangnick will know who he was. Maybe Scott McTominay comes the next Stefan Effenberg. I'd love it. My eyes betray that I don't think it will probably happen, but I would love it to happen. If all those players have not been developed over the last 3 years, then neither is Scott McTominay. And it's a clean slate. Harry Maguire. You know what these players need to do? Get off your socials. Stop listening to criticism, because criticism in the fan base is because people don't think you're good enough. Stop thinking about proving people wrong. Start thinking about, we're a football club again. We're professional. We're hitting the reset button. It's a clean slate. Let's go again. Everybody. In one direction. And if we lose people along the way because they're not good enough, at least they were part of that journey at the start and they tried. Everything that's gone before is out the window. I'd say pick all your winners' medals up, put them in a bag because we're throwing them overboard because it's a new journey now. But you haven't got any winners' medals, have you, in the last 3 years? None of you have. So we're on the longest run without a trophy in decades. That's where we are as a football club. Time to go to work. Which manager do you think Rangnick will appoint once he's director of football? Any chance he buys players from his youth setups? I think it's very exciting in relation to players coming in, players going out, who the next manager is going to be, watching the style of play develop. There's just so many things to be excited about. And I think at United, it sort of leads us into a really exciting point. We've had managers like Mourinho where you think, oh, he's a big pull, wonder who he'll buy, but the football's not going to be that good. We've had managers like Van Gaal who, he's so good at, developing youth, but look at the way he plays football, it's crap now, and his recruitment's a bit hit and miss. We've had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who were like, okay, God knows what he's going to do. He's a good bus driver, he's at the wheel, he's had a lot of money to spend, but again, the football's not good enough. So we've had all these, some positives and some negatives with every manager we've appointed. With Rangnick, he's not even kicked a ball yet as a manager, and he won't do because he's not going to play for the team, but he's not even started his journey yet. But there's loads of ticks. His recruitment is exciting. His football is exciting. His vision is exciting. We're an inflated squad. Who he's going to get rid of and who he's going to develop is going to be exciting. So it's all very exciting at the moment. The biggest positive I see is we will improve. We went at a standstill under Ollie and would have gone further low with Carrick. Love your channel, Mark, says Abbas. And I think that's a great point as well, because what I will say in fairness is that Rangnick is very exciting and Poch would have been exciting, and I think a couple of, Zidane would have been exciting. But what I would say is that I don't know how low you could go where you'd still get a big improvement, but I think Valverde would have got us playing, that was always my fear. With any interim manager, if they were half decent, we would have visibly been so much better. Because I felt that Solskjaer's quality of football at the end was right down here. And a Valverde would be up here straight away and we'd go, oh, we look so... I mean, even Ricky was saying to me, he enjoyed Carrick's performance on Tuesday night. He said, oh, we're so well organised, it was so much better. And I thought, that doesn't surprise me from Ricky. If he thinks that, I'm going to listen to it. But I did think, but we should have been 2-0 down before we scored. And you can say we were well organised, but we should have been 2-0 down before Ronaldo scored. In which case, we probably would have lost the game, or at least a point. So as much as we were well organised on Tuesday night, we should have been 2-0 down. David De Gea made 2 unbelievable saves. So there was an improvement on Tuesday compared to Ollie. So with a Valverde, I think there would have been an improvement. I think many people would have come in and made an improvement, and that's the exciting thing for Rangnick. If anybody or many managers could come in and make an improvement, how big could the improvement be with him? But it will be a visible one very quickly. We're not used to seeing our teams press relentlessly. We're not used to seeing our teams play with a high tempo. we're not used to our teams playing a forward pass. You know, Bruno gets the ball, he'll try a forward pass. Donny will try a forward pass. McTominay and Fred, most of the times it's sideways or backwards. Lingard passes backwards a lot. Rashford will have a look and pass backwards. Even Sancho started doing it. You know, it's defeatist because that's the way that we're so slow. I remember saying this before. You know, I watched Liverpool on Match of the Day, and I'll be amazed at how many times it's wave after wave after wave. And what they do is that they'll move. Like if you look at our defence here, it's very easy to just sort of say this. If Liverpool are on the attack and we're on the attack a little bit, so let's move all this lot here. I mean, they're invisible Liverpool players, but the reality is, if Luke Shaw's on the attack down that side and we're a bit like that, and you know, it breaks down, Liverpool go there to there to there, and Salah's got in behind Luke Shaw, and they've got two up there, and that goes to Salah, and Lindelof comes across, and they go there, and they score. You're moving, because they're moving their ball quickly through the lines, they're creating more space. Well, as we've seen with United, it's side to side to side, and teams get set. They get two banks of four, and the space is gone. That's exactly what Rangnick is going to try and stop us from doing. The quicker you move the ball, the more space there is. It'll be amazing for Ralphie to build the same football structure the same way the Ajax structure has been built throughout the academy, says Tarek. Is Rangnick going to get funded though, says Shane. I mean, I don't know. There was money going to be made available for a midfielder in the summer anyway, so that money will be there. I mean, look, we'll look at that probably more in the next part of the, you know, January and beyond. We won't be buying anybody in January, I don't think, but we would have been buying people in the summer anyway. But how many players are we away from being a team that can win the challenge for the title? I don't think we're that far away. If you can keep Varane fit, you know, Luke Shaw, Maguire, Tellez, Wan-Bissaka, Dalot, Lindelof, De Gea, you know, it's the midfield. It's those holding midfielders that if we had one, I think we'd be a lot more happy with the team. Would it be bad if he becomes like Sir Alex, a manager but also a technical director, or is that too much for one person? Yeah, it'd be too much, Harry. You can't be a technical director and a manager. It's like Klopp says, it's going to be relentless being a coach. And Saeed says, having watched Tuchel and Klopp's press conference, there's a certain fear factor with Rangnick. Exciting times ahead. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I think that, you know, the word respect is bandied around in football quite a lot, but there is a lot of respect. George Carl says there's a lot of crap in this side that he's going to have to get rid of, but yeah, there is a lot of respect. I mean, you know, contrast it, and it's right to contrast it because this is the world we've just been in the last week. Contrast this: Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Carrick, Rangnick. Is Jurgen Klopp and Tuchel going to sit there in a press conference waxing lyrical about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick? No, they don't respect them. They might like them, but they don't respect them. They're not in fear of them. They don't think Man United are a well-run club because they're in charge. Rangnick's in charge, and suddenly Tuchel and Klopp are going, that's bad news for everyone else. Man United is suddenly going to get organised. It's a respect thing, and you get respect because you are talented and you have an ability. That's what United have done in a week. They've gone from a club that wasn't respected in the football world to one that now has a man who is. It's a big step. What would be Pogba's future, says Addy? I think Pogba's gone for me. Doesn't matter who the manager is. You know, there's always a chance. But I said it last April. Pogba's gone. He's not signing a new contract. He's going to run it down. And the reason he's going to run it down is because Mino Raiola is money motivated. And, you know, he's an agent and he's money motivated. And Paul Pogba is a £60 million player at least who's going to walk out for nothing in the summer. That's a very attractive player to your Real Madrids and your PSGs. And they're going to go, well, we're not paying him anything. We're not paying anything for him. There's 60 million quid there he would have cost us, and we're getting him for free. There's 500 grand a week, which United won't be able to pay. So I think that Paul Pogba will leave. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he stays, but I think Paul Pogba will leave. It's exactly the same thing happened with Donnarumma. As Romano said on the show a few weeks ago, exactly the same thing happened with Donnarumma last year. There was feelings that Donnarumma was going to sign a new deal at AC Milan. Got to the end of the season, no, I'm not. Off he goes. So, and also, you know, somebody, you know, Timmy says good riddance. I don't know whether it's good riddance. It might be good timing. 6 years, it's not quite worked out. The new vision for the club is energy and, you know, discipline and moving the ball forward efficiently. I mean, Pogba can move the ball forward. Has he got the energy and tenacity to play a relentless style of football that we would want him to? He certainly wouldn't be playing in the two holding midfield positions in a Rangnick system. Could he take the Bruno position or the Sancho position? Potentially, but I don't think he'll stay anyway. Do you think Van der Beek might be utilised as... And also, from Pogba's point of view, does he want to go through another rebuild? He's been through Mourinho's rebuild for 3 years. He's been through Ollie's rebuild for 3 years. Does he want to go through another one when he can earn 500 grand a week? What do you think about Ballon d'Or? Who will win? Well, I think it'll probably be Messi, but I would give it to Lewandowski. And do you think Van der Beek might be utilised as a 6, says V? I would love to see Donny van der Beek utilised as a number 6. Yeah. Because he will play with 2. And I would love to see Donny... I don't think I have it here, but... So basically, the way I think Rangnick will play is the back 4, a midfield 2, and then I think we will see Rashford. I mean, not necessarily I think we'll play like this. I think it will be something like that. I think it will be sort of a 4-2-2-2 that could be a 4-4-2. I mean, you could even do that. You know, there's lots of things he could do. He might just stay with a 4-2-3-1 because the players know it till the end of the season. But I certainly would like to see Donny van der Beek coming into this position here and playing next to Fred there, so that you can then still have Bruno and Sancho, and then maybe Cavani and Ronaldo. You know, I'd like to see that. But there'll be a lot. The thing is, you're going to see a lot of substitutions because the energy required to play this is going to be massive. And these players haven't had the summer or the intensity. I'll tell you what, here's a headline for you. This is definitely going to happen in the next 2 weeks. We've never trained so hard. This will come from the players. We've never had coaching like this. The intensity in training is just something I've never experienced before. You're going to get all these quotes coming out, definitely. Do you think Red Bull Football could buy United now, says Scott? Don't know how much money Red Bull have got. They'd want to call us RB United, though. That's not going to happen. Do you think Ralph could hire a complete unknown manager who could just pick up where he left off when he moves upstairs, says Joe? I think he'd like to give the job to a Nagelsmann or someone like that. I think that would fit in with what Rangnick would like to do. But I don't think Pochettino's impossible. I don't think Ten Hag's impossible. And I don't think a different manager's impossible. And I think that's the position you want to be in. You don't want to be picking your manager in the summer in November. You don't want to be doing that. I would have took Poch yesterday if he'd have been coming in yesterday. If we're going to appoint a manager in May, let's appoint a manager in May. And that means in May, let's have a look at what the situation is in May. Hope Nora, no more early team leaks, says Srin Vasin. Well, that will be very interesting, actually, won't it? Very, very interesting indeed to see how the club works in relation to things like that. Do you think he'll be enrolled for the Arsenal job? I do. I do. I think he will be enrolled for the Arsenal job. Because I think if he's not enrolled for the Arsenal job, that is a really, really, really big shame. We need him in post for that game. Because that's the reset. You know, we have got Palace on the Sunday. He could reset then, but, you know, in fairness, I mean, I did the Chelsea preview. It felt like ages ago. I think a point against Chelsea would be a real bonus point. We need to then start beating Arsenal, Palace, Norwich, you know, Brentford. We want to go on a bit of a run. And Arsenal will be a bit difficult game, but the only reason he wouldn't be imposed for the Arsenal game is if he hasn't got his bloody work permit. So, you know, players focus on Chelsea on Sunday, day off on Monday. Rangnick's doing his press conference on Monday. Tuesday, let's go to work. Do you think Ralph has more pedigree than Van Gaal? I don't think it's relevant, straight shooter. You know, I think Van Gaal's CV is probably, you know, better. And Van Gaal had a very influential platform and influence on football. In some ways, they're very similar, but they're totally different. And that's not a bad thing. You know, Van Gaal did come into the club, and there was a similar hype to what we're getting with Rangnick. And remember, Van Gaal came in as a permanent coach. Rangnick's coming in as an interim. The exciting thing about Rangnick is his style of football is very relevant in the modern game, and the plan is that he's going to move upstairs and remould and build the club. Van Gaal came in as a man who plays a certain brand of football that actually wasn't that relevant anymore, and it didn't work. But the principle was the same. The idea around Van Gaal wasn't a bad idea. It just didn't work. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try that idea again. Just tuning in, is Ralph bringing his own coaches in? I don't want him to work with one hand tied behind his back. We don't know yet, Mr. Dan United. We don't know about that yet. We will certainly find out. But look, I've really enjoyed the show tonight, and I do just want to give Cards Plug a shout out again, because I forgot to have a look. 35% off through the link in the video description. They've got metal ones as well that you can stick to your wall with magnets, which I've got. You can get these ones as well. Put them on your wall, put them in your man cave, put them in your bathroom. They are fully customizable. You can have your own picture there, you can have my picture there, you can have your favourite player there, nationality, badge, overall rating. You can edit your name, you can edit this. You can have pace, dribbling, defending, shooting, passing, physicality. You could have banter, humour, ironing, whatever. Whatever you want. 30% off, 35% off if you order more than, I think, over £50 worth. But 30% off, fantastic stocking filler. And I also think at Christmas as well, in the modern day, some of your presents are very small. And, it could be very expensive, but very small. Wrap one of these up and people will be like, oh, that's a nice big present under the tree. And also, it's going to work. So, kids, grandkids, nephews, uncles, grandparents, get yours today, 30% off with Cards Plug. I'm just looking at my stats. 96 pace, 98 shooting, 94 passing, 97 dribbling, 72 defending, and 93 physicality. That's a bit of a weird player, isn't it? So he's quick, he can finish, he can pass, he can dribble, but he's also... It's like a hyped up Adama Traore, basically, aren't I? Can kick some ass with the physicality. Can't defend, but can dribble, shoot and pass, and is very fast. That definitely wasn't what I was as a player. But defensive skill would be better, pace would be down, shooting would be down, passing would stay high, dribbling would come down a bit, physicality would come down a bit. But yeah, check it out. Cards Plug, links in the video description, 30% off, Black Friday deal. Big shout out to Cards Plug, fantastic Christmas present. Get your order in while you can, 30% off. Thank you very much for watching. It's got me CDM. Definitely not a CDM with those stats. Bloody hell. I know what that's all about. This one's... I don't know whether you can read this one. This is the little metal one, but it's got green on it, so I don't think you can read it. Yeah, it's got green on, so you can't really read. These are the metal ones. They come with the magnet, so you just stick them to the wall and you stick it on. Really good. Unbreakable as well. Feels nice and cold like me as well. So, Ollie out, it says there. He's already gone. 60 pace. 0-1 McFred, 99 Pratt, 99 Humour, 80 physicality, and 99 Van der Beek. I tell you what, that is nice. Yeah. On the metal, it looks really good. The red. Look at that. That's proper good. Yes. Oh, you're beautiful. Anyway, jokes aside, big shout out to Cards Plug. Links in the video description. Get your orders in. 30% off. 35% off if you go over £50. Get your orders in. I'll speak to you all in the morning. 10 o'clock show in the morning. I think we've got obviously 8 o'clock show tomorrow. Saturday, isn't it? And then Sunday for the Chelsea game. When will Rangnick get announced? I think it'll either be in the morning or it'll be on Monday. I'm leaning a little bit towards Monday now, but we'll see. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care. Make sure you smash the like on the video and subscribe, and check out Cards Plug. Thank you very much.